All right, my friends, it is 8:29, just a few seconds before 8:30, and he's a familiar face to generations of audiences, known for his roles in the hit TV series Welcome Back, Kotter, and the iconic film Cooley High. Now, actor Lawrence Hilton-Jacobs is bringing his experience and star power to the capital city for the WOW Studio One Theater and Film Festival, and he's joining me now to talk about the big event and about inspiring the next wave of creatives. I was telling him before we got started, I am so excited about this interview because I have grown up watching you in everything from The American Dream to Cooley High to all the work that you've been doing since then. So this is definitely an honor.
I appreciate that. Good.
Yes.
Okay, I can leave now.
Okay, he's done. He's going to wrap it up now.
I'm done.
Okay, so I have to tell you this. Cooley High is my dad's favorite movie. And so, like when kids talk about like the first movie that ever made them cry, people talk about like The Lion King or The Fox and the Hound.
Sure. Yeah.
Cooley High had me unwell for a very long time.
I can tell you something with that movie. For the first maybe 12, 15 years when that movie came, my mother could never see the end of that. Because I died in the movie, and as far as she's concerned, and she's West Indian, so it was a kid, Jesus Christ, my child, oh God, so it was that kind of thing,
Yes,
so I get,
yeah, my dad sat me down and he was like, this is my favorite movie, and we watched it so many times, and every single time, I'm like, where are my Kleenex? I'm not okay. I needed to talk through my feelings afterwards, but it really is an iconic film, and you have been such a big player in the entertainment game for so long.
Around a long time, it's going into, God, get ready for this. It's almost 60 years,
No.
I'm 72, so I've been around for
72 where?
72, baby. It is.
Looking good. Blessed and highly favored, yes.
Yeah.
So when you think back on all the roles that you've done and all the things that you have done so far, what is the role or the project or the experience that stands out?
It's kind of funny. It's layered. If we talk about Welcome Back, Kotter, we were just a bunch of young boys with a couple of bucks, and we were like, running. It was like the inmates was running the asylum. The first year when we did Welcome Back, Kotter, our producers was also producing a show called Chico and the Man. So Freddie Prinze was my boy also, so we were out of control, But when I did the Jackson's An American Dream, I had a layered role that came from the age of 20 all the way to 54, and I was 38 when I did it. And the zenith is Cooley High. I mean, the experience was fun.
Yeah.
Glenn Turman's my great friend to this day. Garrett Morris, I was in LA last week, and Garrett Morris got an award, and he couldn't show up, so I got it for him, and then I took it to his house. So that's how we roll. And Garrett's funny. I mean, he called me up, and he called me like 8 in the morning, which is unusual. And I said, "What's up?" I just called to tell you I love you, brother. I said, well, you gotta call me when I'm awake, and whatnot. Yeah, so we're cool.
I love that. So it seems like the relationships have just really helped
Absolutely.
blessed you and been with you for so long.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell folks where you're based out of right now, because you made a long flight to get here for us.
Not really. I mean, I was in New York City for the week. I went to a memorial of a friend of mine, and a lot of friends showed up. And I'm from New York City, which is where I was born and raised. So I was just hanging out with my family and eating a lot of home-cooked food and pizza and all that stuff. The ride down here was only about a 90-minute ride, so that wasn't bad,
Oh, that's not too bad at all.
Not at all, and I'm used to it. I travel quite a lot, and things like that. But I'm just keep it moving, keep working. We're here to celebrate. I mean, why I'm here, or like believe why I'm here.
Yes.
To be with you, baby. No, okay. Is to just share the experience.
Yes.
And to let people know that there is a protocol and a process to anything. It's like raising a child or growing a tree. You got to plant the seed, you got to allow it to grow.
Exactly.
You have to let it, you got to find the sun. You have to wait for it to bear fruit. That's a process of life. And that's just the simplicity of it. So that's where I come from. I just try to keep it honest, keep it real. Don't make it sound like it's so show businessy and my God, I'm in show business and all that. No, it's a journey, and it is life, and it is a craft, and it's work, and it can be a fun experience. Just to be short, Monday I went to a memorial for a friend named Woody King Jr., who was a famous, prolific black producer. Everybody that's black started out with him. Myself, Denzel Washington, Debbie Allen, Glenn Turman, Sam Jackson, you name it. We all started with Woody, and we were all there.
Yeah.
And when we see each other, it's just a family at this point.
Oh.
You know, we hang out and we talk, but we don't talk about showbiz. We talk about, you remember that time, man, we was sharing that spam sandwich, brother, man. You still owe me a quarter, that kind of nonsense. That's how we roll,
Absolutely. I love that so much. That camaraderie, that family.
Yeah.
So it feels like a family reunion every time
It's
y'all
nice.
get together.
So that's what it's all about then. It's about having some kind of community, which seems to be a lost art, which is what, I'd like to talk about today. To find that kind of grip to know that, you're not alone and that we all can help each other, respect each other a little bit. That ain't too hard to do. And chill out. If it ain't happening, just chill,
Right. And I think, too, I love that you said that because I think a lot of times there's this mindset of this scarcity mindset when in actuality there's enough food at the table for everybody to eat, right?
Sure.
And so there's an opportunity for everybody to get their chance and their shot if they put in that work. We don't have to tear each other down in order to get there.
It takes time, I was even, I have a nephew who's studying to be a doctor. He's 28 and he's going through, it's tough. And so, I said, I know it's tough going to school and you had some heavy tests this week, Tyler, do your work, But I said, look, man, you got this, you got a moniker that's built into you. I said, you're going to be a doctor, get some patience, man. Give it a chance. We got to get there.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. It's a process and you'll be okay. But when we're younger, we want to leave the world breathless and, and oh, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, you look back on it and you're like, just have that patience. That's why patience is a virtue.
Man, it's more than that, man. It's got to be like, an injection or something.
Right,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things that people will be able to experience at the WOW Film Festival, which is happening right now, today is day 2.
Absolutely.
You'll be having the Lunch and Learn. So they'll be able to glean some of that knowledge from you. Now, for folks who are watching and they're like, oh my gosh, his career is absolutely incredible. What is the biggest advice that you have for somebody trying to break into this business, into the entertainment industry?
It's to understand that it is a business. It's a tough game. I won't play that. But you can achieve and go forward. But it all depends on you. And I was even like young actors come and say, well, is there a key to it and all that? I said, well, the key is your honesty. We all know when we're full of it. Let's just keep it real. And we know where our limitations are. So implore that. Pay attention to that. Give yourself a chance to get there. As I was mentioning, my nephew, just in his thing, give yourself a chance to feel the bumps. It's like I have a friend, from fighting and he says, you always got to keep that jab in that face. You have to learn how to duck euphemistically. You have to learn how to adjust yourself to make things go. And not every win is the championship, but it gets you to go forward. So this is the hardest thing to grasp. But show business is a tough game. But it can be a very rewarding game. I've been doing it over 60 years, and I started when I was 15 years old. And I'm not quitting, and I'm not. I don't have regrets of it or saying, "Oh my God, they could have gave me this role." Didn't get it, I didn't get it. But that's a learned behavior also.
Right.
Learning how to what they might call rejection. That's you have to find your resilience in that. You have to find your honesty. So it's all based on that. It's all based on your own personal truth. And going many times back in the day, I would be on auditions with myself and Glenn Turman and Richard Lawson and Sam Jackson, all this, and we'd be there together. And then whoever got the part that day, I said, well, it's your turn today.
Yeah.
And many times we'd go in there, they'd say, okay, today's for you, Glenn. And then we'd walk up and go get some lunch.
I love that.
But you'd have to learn to accept that.
Yes.
Because people take it personal and think like, well, why did he get it? Is he cuter than me or is he a better actor? I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
They didn't like your breath or something today. Who knows, man? Yeah.
And one of the things, it made me think of that saying where people say sometimes rejection is just redirection.
Absolutely.
And so it can just be an opportunity. It means your opportunity hasn't come yet, but you have another one lined up that is for you. Now, I want to talk about one of the biggest challenges that you have experienced in the entertainment industry. What is a roadblock that maybe people don't recognize when they get into this?
My name, they keep spelling my name wrong.
Not the name!
I don't know if there's a roadblock. Again, it goes back to our personal metal of who we are as people.
Yeah.
We know where we're going, or at least we have an idea where we want to go. We're not going to get there overnight, so you have to learn to allow that to grow and happen. It's planting a seed, let the tree grow. There's going to be a humiliation, which is not easy to deal with. Rejection is devastating, especially when you're very young. You take it so personal, and you feel like this is the end. But then you look back in reflection, and you go, something, okay. So to get to that point is not an easy transition because you're going through it. When I was a kid, I was 19 years old, and I went for this movie, Claudine, my first movie. I had no agent. I had no business being there. but I wanted to be in there. And I showed up at the audition at 11 a.m. They saw about 9,000 actors that day.
Wow.
And I was the last person there at night, about 7 at night, just sitting in the lobby. And they came out, and the casting director, rest in peace, Charlie Briggs, he's almost like he says, "What are you here for?" I said, I like to read. Come on in. It worked out.
Wow.
And I didn't have, maybe it was a lucky thing, I didn't have any kind of a preset in my mind that I could not be here, or I don't know why I wasn't afraid, but I just wasn't. And I sat there and we talked. When I met the director, John Berry, and he would ask me things about myself, and I told him about me. I couldn't tell him a lot because I didn't have that much acting experience then. So what the point I'm getting back to is we have to get to our truth. Let the honesty just come out and ride that wave, man. It's just the way that it goes. Yeah. It's not an easy, straight path, but you can win if you don't quit. Okay? Quitting is out.
Quitting is out. We don't quit around here. That's a whole word. Where's the collection plate? Come on. Yes. Yeah. I'm about to get up and start. Okay. I love that so much because really, whether you want to get into the entertainment industry or any industry, that is a fact of life.
It is.
The patience, the perseverance, the not giving up.
It's learned. It's a learned behavior. It's an adjustment. It's like growing up. I went through the stage when I was a teenager. You wouldn't know it now, but I had a million pimples. I just thought I was going to be scarred for life, for those 3 years. I was like, oh, man, please, I just busted on my face. You got to get past that. It's part of the growing or your growing pains or the growing worth. This is life.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about it. It's so funny we're talking about this because earlier I was talking with my meteorologist and we were talking about a lot of times people look at life and they think it goes like this when in actuality you got your ups and your downs.
It's a roller coaster ride.
It's a roller. Just strap in, but hang on and hold in there. So we're already getting so much good information now. Talk to me about why it's important for people who want to get into the entertainment industry to attend a festival like the one that's being offered here in Columbia?
Because you can learn, because you can get the information. A lot of times when we think as people, in my projection of it, is we feel like we're on the outside and it's so unattainable. Or every person that's got any notoriety got $1 million in their pocket. That's just not real. So the opportunity for something like this is that you can communicate. And you can find out the variables is that it's work, some of it's a hustle. You have to grow into it so you can understand it. You can because, you decided to, which is okay. You don't not like you just got blessed. And some people may get a little bit of extra sprinkle, but that wasn't my life. You got to go out there and go find it. So this is just to reassure people that, you can make a move and you can progress yourself into a greater day because you decided to, but you got to put the work in, and it's not a shortcut. It's like you put up a shelf and you put all your valuables in the shelf. But if you don't go into there with that bracket with that little screw, which is the details, the shelf falls. That's life to me. You have to have your little support. Pay attention to the little boring parts. This is learned behavior. So something like this allows people to have an openness to, ask these questions. I hope I get questioned a lot, other than, about my granddaughter. But outside of that, and it's all gravy.
Yeah, I love that. I'm over here. I'm about to take it. I'm putting this all in my pocket too. Okay, this is good life advice. We love to hear it. So also too, let's talk about the importance of networking. That's one of the great things about this festival that I'm loving is that it's really bringing together a lot of folks in the industry. Speak more to the fact that networking, that community, really is essential to being a part.
Well, there's always got to be a connection. Sometimes the word, networking is a little loosely used because people say networking, where you have a connection that you can make it grow into something else. If you depend on that too much, that can sometimes be a little bit devastating because you meet somebody and you don't see them again and that's it. What you do is you get a chance to at least connect. And from there you springboard because it's got to be out of you. Yeah. You got to thrust you forward. You have to take the foundations as a gift. Like, let's say not to get religious here, but you read the book and you get certain foundings that are standard law or standard ideas have been around, that hasn't really changed. You have a springboard. You have some place to come from.
Yeah.
So that's what this does. But you have to do something with it. But at least you have the initial takeoff.
Absolutely, that foundation for sure. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about your career. What role
I just started. Okay?
I know, we have this new actor here.
Yeah,
you might not know.
I can't wait to get my first part.
Right? What has been the most challenging role that you've experienced or you've taken on?
The most involving role was the Jackson's An American Dream because I played the character from the age of 20 to 54, and I was 38 when I did it. Going older wasn't a problem. When they said they play 20 again, I'm saying, I don't know, I even want to tell that lie. But, but you play the attitude. So it had the multi-layers and stuff like that. The most fun I ever had was doing Welcome Back Kotter because it was nuts, and things like that. But, I've done, involving plays. I did a Richard Wesley play called The Mighty Gents, one of his famous plays. And that was very challenging at the time, trying to play a teenager again and all that. You take them on one at a time. Mm-hmm. I've been around so long, I played so many roles, I don't pinpoint it so much as what was the most challenging. Anytime you have to learn something, anytime you do a play and you see all those monologues, you think, how am I ever going to learn this?
Yeah.
I did a short film recently with my friend Glenn Turman, where we just it's the two of us, and we play two guys who always show up at a funeral every year because their wives died, and coincidentally, to commemorate their wives, we don't know each other. And so at first we were in conflict, but then we decided to go up to a restaurant and talk to each other about how we're handling this experience, But it was long dialogue scenes, and stuff like that. And one time I was so into it, I just started crying. It just came out that way. And I think Glenn was like, wait a minute, he didn't expect that. So it's a progress, and a progression.
How do you prepare roles? Like, what is your take? How do you get into character? What's your method?
My thing is when I read a script the first time, I'm a little anxious and everything. So I said, let me get past that. The second time I read it, now I have a lay of the land. And by the third time, I can start pinpointing things I may want to do. Maybe I want to posture myself this way. I should think like this. I usually put notes. When you see me on a film set, I zone out. You'll see me pacing, and it probably looks like, don't mess with that, brother. But it's not. It's my way of focusing in. Excuse me. What happens on the set is when you're on a film set, there's 100 people over there doing a million things and loud and stuff like that. But I'll sit on the set so that doesn't distract me. I'll sit in the corner and get out of the way, and they're doing whatever they're doing, putting lights up and gaffing. I don't let that get to me. And I zone in, and I play the truth of it. I'm not a person that some people say, well, if you want to cry, you can think about you lost your dog. No, it becomes real to me in the moment. I don't relate it to my personal life, but relate it to the feeling of that. So we all have our own way. But I zone in. I just get real. Or when I'm silly, I'm like that anyway. Most of the time, you just let it be loose, and have fun. As I said with Welcome Back Kotter, that wasn't go to work every day. That was stealing the money, man, because we're all out of control. I looked at the rerun and I said, we were silly. My God, we were nuts.
But a time was had.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Okay, so I want to go back to talking about the American dream. So right now, so many people talking about the new Michael Jackson biopic. Have you seen it?
I did.
Okay, so tell me, what are your thoughts on this? Because when I think of Michael Jackson biopic, I automatically think of American Dream. I think of you as Joe Jackson. So tell me, what is your response? What have you thought of the film?
Well, the film is a different movie. It's not American Dream. The American Dream, here's what a lot of people may not know. The American Dream is a love story about two people who happened to get together, Catherine and Joe, and these amazing children came out of it. That's the through line of that. The Michael movie was trying to celebrate the legacy of Michael's, and that's what they were trying to play with those variables. And a lot of it they could not get into the movie. There's only but so much you can put into it. So I'm just going to say some of it was glossed over, and I understand it because they're getting pressure from When we did the Jacksons movie, the family was around a lot, and there was a scene where I was supposed to rough Rebe up. And in the script, I was supposed to punch her. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, if I grab, Monica Kyle, who played my daughter, she was 5'2", and I'm 6'3". If I grab her, that's scary enough, which I did do. But when we were doing it, Rebe happened to be on the set that day. And I was talking to Side, and she says, Larry, you're not going to do that? I said, no. She said, well, that happened. I said, but I'm not going to do it. And I said, it's overkill, and it's too much. So those kind of things where somebody's telling you this and that on how to play it can become diluted. And you have to focus the film. As a director, you gotta be tough. You have to have a focus, but you got people telling you this and that. And so how do you handle it? That becomes, so that's what I thought happened in Michael. I saw a lot, and I said, well, they're not saying a lot that's brand new to us. I think Jafar did a nice job, playing Michael. Coleman was all right. He played his version of Joe. I'm not comparing it, or whatnot. And so, okay, that's that. But it's not about an exterior, it's about the soul. And my understanding of playing a real person, or my take on it, is that you have to find the essence of who that person is and play that, not play the actions Or so even like I'll talk with some of the actors today or people coming up, people think acting is being physical and being all that. But let's say if I'm playing the scene with you let's say I had to react, and I don't want to talk to you like this. No, I would just look at you and just tell you. I would say, listen, lady interviewing me, what's your problem? No, I'm messing with you. But, but you talk directly, and you feel it and you react as you like us listen. How you're listening could be more important than what I'm saying. So the focus can be here on me here, but coming into you like that, that's you bring them in. You must allow for that, and that's a process, and involve the audience. The audience is invested. They don't want to just know actions. They want to know soul. They want to know reason. They want to know silliness. They want to have fun with you. So in that movie, I didn't see a lot of the other family interactions. They were just there. I didn't know who was Randy or what he thought or what Jermaine might have thought as a character. None of it was dealt with, and they all had feelings. I mean, I've been around that family a lot, so I know that.
Yeah. I thank you so much for sharing that perspective. So as we have a couple minutes left, and I have to ask, so you are, I know that y'all know that Mr. Lawrence is a actor, but you're also a producer, a writer, I mean, you literally do it all.
Yeah.
There is so much still ahead for you. What is next?
I tell you what I'm doing, and it's going to probably sound nuts. I have a deal going on where I'm going to do 4 movies almost back to back. The first one is called First Dibs on Lanisha, and it's a crazy comedy about a guy who's a womanizer, and he's trying to get together with somebody else's wife, but that ain't happening. And he keeps making jokes about this guy's going to die, it's going to die. He winds up dying, but he goes between heaven and hell. And I'm going to give this away a little bit. When he goes to purgatory, instead of having the Last Supper, I call it the Council of 12, but it's Michael Jackson, Prince, Elvis Presley, James Brown, Little Richard. It's cuckoo.
Oh my goodness!
And so we're going to play that out. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the other films are different. One is a horror film called Panic. I'm going to do these movies almost back to back.
Wow.
3 of the movies I wrote for my friend Glenn Turman, so he'll be in. One's a Christmas movie, which is called At Christmas Time. And it deals with a young lady who is 7 years old, and she's going through cancer, and a homeless man who feels like his life is nothing. And this policeman who volunteers at the hospital sees this homeless guy ready to take his life. He turns out to be a great musician. Hey, we're putting on a Christmas show. Come here and help us out. But he and that little girl form this bond, and they make a family, to the opposition of the doctor, who's a female doctor who's trying to save her, but also vicariously lives through the kid because she never had kids. So it's a tearjerker all the way, and it's real sensitive. And I'm looking forward to those things. So
you and these tear jerkers.
Yeah, we got horror, we got tear jerkers, and no sleep for me.
No sleep for you. Yeah. Well, we are so grateful that you're going to be here for the festival. My friends, I get the honor of hosting the red carpet. That's going to be happening tomorrow, so a time is going to be had. But again, this is going to be an incredible, incredible event. It's underway right now. Tickets are still available, and there's so much still going on. Again, we have that red carpet tomorrow. There's the Shoot Your Shot competition happening tomorrow, where you can pitch your ideas or perform your monologues and get feedback. Lunch and Learns happening today with the Mr. Lawrence. And so again, my friends, we're going to put this interview on our website, WLTX.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're a lot of fun, and and you're smart. I like that. There you go, baby.
Listen, my day is made. I'm done. I'm done. No more news. No more news. All right, friends, we'll be right back.